Welcome to a new Detective Squirrel Investigates video, and in this video we're going all the way back to the start of this channel and my trilogy of They Weren't Jack videos about the prime suspects named at the time of the Jack the Ripper killings. The three, Montague John Druitt, George Chapman, originally known as Severin Kozowski, a name I managed to butcher in my original video, and finally Aaron Kosminski, were all mentioned by Commissioner Anderson in his autobiography, particularly suggesting that the killer was in fact Kosminski. We also had Inspector Aberline, who believed Chapman was the killer, and when his sergeant was promoted and arrested Chapman for the poisoning of his wives, Aberline congratulated him for catching Jack the Ripper. I won't be discussing in this video Johnny Depp's portrayal of Aberline in the film From Hell. If you are interested, I highly recommend the Deus Dakin Reviews video on the actual film. I will leave a link to that video in the description below. Commissioner Anderson named three suspects in his autobiography, but he wasn't the only one. Assistant Chief Superintendent McNaughton in his autobiography also named three suspects. He named Kosminski and Druitt, just as Anderson had. But then he also mentioned one Michael Ostrog. So in this video we will look into why the Michael Ostrog was considered as a suspect in a part 4 of the They Weren't Jack trilogy. Ostrog was a Russian Jew and he was a con merchant. He used several aliases. Bizarrely, one alias he used was Count Orlok. The name that was used again just over 30 years later in the film Nosferatu, in a failed attempt to avoid a lawsuit over copyright. According to McNaughton, Ostrog was a misogynist and had a history of violence towards women, and also he was a homicidal maniac. And that's it. That is the only evidence that suggests that Michael Ostrog was to be considered as a suspect. So that makes the next part easy. Let's look at the evidence that proves that Michael Ostrog was not Jack. Firstly is the fact that no one else mentioned the name Michael Ostrog. McNaughton claimed that Ostrog had a history of violence against women, but his criminal record shows that he was a con merchant. He has no record of violence against women or anyone else. McNaughton also claimed that Ostrog was a homicidal maniac, but again there's no evidence to actually back this assumption up. McNaughton's mention of Ostrog and insisting that he is in fact Jack the Ripper is completely nonsensical. Perhaps McNaughton was a victim of one of Ostrog's cons at some time, and this was some kind of bizarre way of actually trying to get revenge. But there's nothing to back that actually theory up. That's just a theory of mine. Ostrog was in fact arrested and was sent to Banstead Lunatic Asylum. He was released in March 1888 when he went to France to try being a con merchant there, which wasn't successful, as he was arrested and held in custody from the 26th of July 1888 all the way through to his trial, which took place on the 15th of November 1888, and was again sent to an asylum just outside Paris. So he wasn't even in the country at the time of the murders. So there you go. That is why Michael Ostrog was not Jack, and why McNaughton insisted he was is still a mystery to this day. If there is any particular suspect you would like to see a video on, please mention it in the comments below. For now, this is Detective Squirrel, out.